Could you lower your blood pressure in 8 to 12 weeks with a simple daily habit that also supports healthier arteries and steadier circulation?
Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster. Today we're examining evidence that spirulina, a blue-green algae used as food for centuries, can measurably reduce both systolic and diastolic pressure when you use the right dose for long enough.
I'm Alara Sky. Modern trials show spirulina is more than a nutrient-dense supplement. It's a targeted strategy for cardiovascular support. Research links it to improved blood vessel flexibility, greater nitric oxide availability, and protection against oxidative stress and inflammation. 3 levers that directly influence how forcefully blood presses against your artery walls.
Let's start with the big picture. A systematic review of 29 randomized controlled trials covering 1,583 adults found edible algae reliably lowered blood pressure, and spirulina produced the strongest, most consistent effects. Drops of several millimeters of mercury may sound small, but sustained reductions of even 2 to 5 millimeters of mercury translate to meaningful reductions in stroke and heart disease risk over time.
Consistency and dosing mattered. Benefits were greatest when people consumed at least 3 grams per day for 8 to 12 weeks, with the most robust outcomes beyond 12 weeks. Whole spirulina outperformed isolated extracts, suggesting its proteins, minerals, antioxidants, and pigments work together in ways that single compounds cannot replicate.
Who stands to gain the most? Adults already dealing with elevated blood pressure, people over 50, and those who are overweight consistently showed larger improvements than younger or leaner participants. If you fall into any of those groups, spirulina appears to deliver greater returns for the same daily effort.
Mechanistically, several lines of evidence converge. Spirulina supports nitric oxide production, which helps your arteries relax. It tempers oxidative stress that would otherwise stiffen vessel walls, and it calms inflammatory signaling that accelerates vascular damage. In combination, those changes ease resistance to blood flow and bring numbers down.
Let's talk specifics you can apply. A practical starting point is about 3 grams daily. Whole spirulina, tablets, capsules, powders, or flakes works best. If your goal is prevention, some protocols use higher amounts, with many adults settling around 10 grams for maintenance. Whichever target you choose, build up gradually and drink plenty of filtered water.
Duration is not optional. Trials that ran 8 weeks or longer produced clearer results than shorter interventions. Think of this as training your vasculature. You'll get the strongest payoff when you make spirulina a daily habit for 2 to 3 months and reassess after that window.
There are boundaries to respect. Spirulina is generally well tolerated in studies, but you should avoid it if you're allergic to seafood or iodine, or if you're pregnant or nursing. Starting with small amounts and increasing slowly helps minimize uncomfortable detox-type reactions as your system adapts.
Spirulina is most effective inside a broader plan that lowers vascular strain. One simple move is to improve your sodium to potassium ratio by eating real food. Ultra-processed items pack sodium and skimp on potassium. Ripe fruit, root vegetables, and well-cooked leafy greens naturally raise potassium and support healthier pressure regulation.
Nitric oxide support extends beyond algae. Regular exercise, sensible sunlight exposure, and foods like beets reinforce the same pathway spirulina influences. When your nitric oxide signal is strong, vessels stay more flexible, and your readings trend lower with less effort.
The dose-response pattern also shows up by risk profile. Overweight adults and those managing metabolic issues often saw greater drops than leaner peers. If you're working on weight management or addressing insulin-related concerns, spirulina can act as a supportive layer while you tighten the rest of your routine.
On measurement, look for changes in both numbers. Reviews reported average reductions around 4 to 5 millimeters of mercury systolic and about 3 millimeters of mercury diastolic with spirulina, with higher risk groups sometimes seeing more. Track at consistent times of day, under similar conditions, so the trend reflects real progress rather than daily noise.
Form matters. Whole spirulina repeatedly outperformed extracts in pooled analyses. That points to synergy among its peptides, minerals, phycocyanin, and carotenoids. If you're comparing options, favor products that provide the intact algae rather than isolated fractions that aim to mimic its effects.
A quick note on expectations. Short trials and low doses delivered weaker or inconsistent results. If you try spirulina for only a few weeks or keep intake below 3 grams, you may not see the change you're looking for. Give the full 8 to 12 weeks a fair test before judging its value for you.
Safety bears repeating. Skip spirulina if you're allergic to seafood or iodine, or if you're pregnant or nursing. If you proceed, increase slowly and hydrate well. Those steps showed up repeatedly alongside the positive outcomes in the clinical literature.
Let's place spirulina among daily habits you control. Reducing ultra-processed foods, moving your body each day, and maintaining a healthy weight all multiply its impact. The research indicates that stacking these behaviors strengthens blood pressure improvements and supports long-term cardiovascular resilience.
You may be wondering how soon you'll notice change. Most studies that saw consistent reductions ran at least 8 weeks, with some extending to 12. That timeline aligns with real-world experience. Steady inputs produce steady outcomes. Map your readings weekly and evaluate at the 2 to 3 month mark.
If you're over 50, spirulina's case is even stronger. Age-related arterial stiffening makes pressure harder to manage, yet trials show spirulina's effects are often most pronounced in older adults. That makes it a practical tool to add when you want measurable help without complicating your routine.
Here's your action step. If blood pressure is on your radar, consider integrating whole-form spirulina at about 3 grams per day. Build gradually toward your target. Improve your potassium intake with real foods, support nitric oxide with movement and sunlight, and track your numbers for at least 8 weeks before you reassess.
Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.